What's the worst thing that's happened to one of your friends? A few winters back my friend was driving and merged uphill onto an interstate overpass. He hit a patch of black ice on the ramp and went into a skid. His truck ending up slamming parallel into the guardrail, and he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. He's a big dude, college football player at the time. And the force of the impact sent him clean through the driver door and off the overpass. He fell 40 feet and landed on the highway below that he'd just left. Amazingly, no spinal or cerebral damage, but basically the whole left side of his body was shattered. Pelvis, elbow, 5 ribs were all broken. Huge hole in his diaphragm. Torn urethra. He was in a bad way. 3 weeks of medically induced coma and 8 procedures later he pulled through. 8 months after that the madman made it back on the football field for his senior year of college. Practically a cyborg at that point with all of the hardware in his body. Doctors are pretty sure he only lived because he was in such good shape at the time of the accident. He always wears his seatbelt now. As should you. Murdered by an unknown person. There was some extremely shady shit going on at the time. They found her dead in bed with the front door wide open. 28 years on. I still miss her so much. One of my friends just lost her almost 2-year-old child in a drowning accident. She's utterly devastated. I lost my 1-year-old son in March to drowning. Please let your friend know if she needs someone to talk to. I might be able to help. Edit. Thank you very much for the hugs. I hope you get plenty of sweet hugs from your loved ones. Went swimming in a lake and got tangled in a bunch of weeds and drowned. Rip Dan. He died of a seizure in the middle of the night. The worst part was he was going to see a neurologist the next day about his sudden onset of seizures. Rip Tommy. I lost a friend this way. She was 23 and from a really small town in Iowa. Her family had adopted her from Korea when she was a baby. She moved to Des Moines to get away from her small town, and I met her while she was finishing a phlebotomy program. We were really close. Or at least I thought we were. There was a group of us that would go out several times a week and we were heavy drinkers. She never told any of us that she had epilepsy. I know why she hid it, because she just wanted to be able to go out and participate with the rest of us, but it was incredibly shocking to have a friend just not wake up one morning. A friend of mine was murdered. Shot 14 times. He was left for dead on somewhat remote road. He was 15. It's hard to deal with friends going out like that. Thanks for your kind response to my comment. Wish there was something more I could say, but I have a hard time finding the right words here. My best friend was shot point blank in the head by her husband and then he killed himself. She survived with no long-term damage. This happened to my great-grandmother back in the day when she tried to leave her husband. He broke into her sister's house where she was staying. Shot her sister, her, and then himself. All at point blank. Only he died. 2 of my good friends, twins, got in a car accident. They were upside down in a wooded area. The one brother died instantly, while the other was upside down for 3 hours until someone saw their car. I miss you. As a twin, this really resonates with me. The thought of having to hang upside down next to my lifeless brother for 3 hours sounds absolutely horrifying. I am so sorry for what happened, and I hope your friend is doing better now. One of my friends was sliding down a railing that was next to a ground storm drain made of concrete. He slipped backwards and cracked his skull open. It was near midnight and we were pretty close to a hospital, so I just kinda picked him up and ran. I hope I never see the inside of someone's head up close again. Edit. Since people keep asking me if my friend is still alive. He is and is doing much better. A friend in high school was hit by a car and dragged a couple of 100 yards before he died. The driver was drunk and on coke. It was 8 a.m. when it happened. My friend was on his way to school. Went to school, GR 5 to 12, with a guy that something similar to this happened to him. He was working at a bar. Went to break up a fight outside and some girl in her early 20s hit him with her car and dragged him several blocks. He lives in a long-term care facility now. Can pretty much only blink. Total care. I found this out because I started working there as a nurse. My friend had another good friend of ours die in his arms after being shot 3 times from a drive-by. Even to this day, 9 years later, he feels like that they were meant for him and lives with some guilt. Me and my 3 other friends were longboarding down this highway and suddenly one of my friend crashed into a tree headfirst. For some reason his helmet went off before impact. We managed to get him to a hospital as fast as possible. He suffered went into a coma and died 2 hours later. This happened 4 years ago, May 28th. There's a really good friend of mine that was driving his girlfriend at the time and got hit by a drunk driver. Only fatality of that accident was my friend's GF. It's been about 10 to 15 years and he still doesn't drive. That shit destroyed him. He is still a happy dude, but it isn't the same for real. Just broke. God. Similar story. A guy the first know was driving home with his girlfriend after a party or club or something. She was drunk and they started arguing. So he pulled off so they could stop and talk and not be driving distracted. She ended up getting out. Took off down a road with no sidewalk. And got hit by a car. The argument itself was apparently super minor and the whole thing just wrecked him. His girlfriend, who he had a 3-year-old daughter with, one day just grabbed everything and the kid and left for a different country, leaving no trace behind her. That was 15 years ago and my friend has been looking for his daughter nonstop. He has a blog where he posts letters for her to find in case she ever Googles her name. But it points out that the mother changed her identity and the daughter's. I can't imagine how that feels. Edit, OMG, I didn't expect this to blow up. First of all, I don't know why she left. I don't know if it was domestic violence, but he doesn't seem to be violent at all. He seems very sweet. This didn't happen in the US. It happened in a South American country and the girl took off to Brazil. My friend did hire a couple of pie and they both told him all they found was her name at the registration office at the border. And then it's like she vanished. He did everything he could, such as going to TV shows and the newspaper. But the girl's family told him to stop showing his daughter's face in the media as she is still a minor, she's turning 18 at the end of the year, and that he was committing a crime. So he stopped showing her or using her full name. The girl's family don't want to give any data. They just told him that he will never find her. That's why he thinks she changed hers and his daughter's name. She's not in social media. And sorry, the blog is in Spanish and I don't really want to share it as it has a lot of personal info on him. I don't want to send a mob to it. I really didn't expect this would get so much attention. For now he's waiting for her daughter to turn 18 and he will start to look for her in the media again. I will let him know the Reddit family can help him with the search. Hope you guys understand. He and his brother were away at college. His father fell asleep with a cigar in hand. And the house began to burn. So far as could be determined. The father woke, went to get his wife, carried her downstairs, and made it to within a couple feet of the door. They both died, and the house was destroyed. Tried to swim to shore from a sailboat in Lake Michigan. She was a strong swimmer. But even in the summer, hypothermia as a threat. They didn't find her body for several days, and during that time famous fake psychic Sylvia F. Seeking Brown told the family she was alive and being held on a boat against her will. Still miss you, Julie. I had a friend who I went through elementary school and middle schools with. He moved away in the middle of 7th grade and our friend group was heartbroken. But figured we'd see him again. Last week, he was shot in the head by his friend who was showing him a gun and pointed it at him as a joke. He was 18. Finished a workout at the gym and collapsed on his way out. Brain aneurysm. He was dead 6 days later. My friend was found after not breathing for 10+ minutes. They got his heart started again and he lived for a few more years, but he never walked or talked again. He broke several bones as a child. At age 9 he was hit by a car and shattered his pelvis. Then in school on the first day of 5th grade he fell off the monkey bars and broke both arms in a gruesome manner. In high school a friend of mine was stopped at an intersection. When some lady rear-ended him. She was dicking with her phone and didn't even slow down. This pushed his vehicle through the intersection and pinned a girl waiting for the bus against a telephone pole, where she died. One of my friends raped my other friend's 83-year-old grandma for revenge. I wish I was making it up. He was kidnapped never to be seen again. I miss him. Edit, we worked together and the owners had businesses with drug dealers. Actually, one of the owners was killed years prior. I quit in September 2015 and I begged him to quit. It wasn't worth it. He replied, dude, there are no jobs. I cannot simply quit. In November, him and another former coworker, with whom I wasn't too close with, went to see a terrain for the owners. Nobody knew what happened, probably the owners, but they didn't really cared. Some hinted he isn't necessarily dead. But the options are, he became a hitman against his own will or he became a slave. Not really better tbh. I don't remember the year, but on Christmas Eve a friend was plied with enough alcohol that it killed him. He was raped first. Matthew was 14. She worked as a bartender and her fiancé came in drunk out of his mind and acting strange. She had to tell him she couldn't serve him. He left upset. She went home a few hours later and found him trying to rape her teen daughter. My friend fought him. He cut open her face from forehead to chin. She said she could see her own facial bones. He held them hostage for hours. She knocked him out with a bat and carried her daughter, banging on all the neighbors' doors. Finally someone opened up and got the cops. He was on the run for a while but finally caught. Her piece of shit ex-fiancé was sentenced to 58 years. She has a huge deep scar on her face. Her daughter is still a sweet young lady who has kept a positive mindset. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you next time.